So stoked to have him in here. Sean Thornton, he's the founding director of Anonymous X. Not many people quit their day job and sort of dedicate themselves to, I suppose full-time to a cause they are truly, truly passionate about. He's really one of those rare humans who has done just that, and I suppose now he's gearing up for his third holiday season, providing much-needed goods to people experiencing homelessness in and around Melbourne. So good afternoon to you, Sean, and thank you so much for getting here. Look, can you tell us a little bit about Anonymous X and how it all came about?
Well, basically, in a nutshell, Anonymous X provide assistance for homeless, rough sleepers, people in crisis accommodation, and any sort of needs that they might require. We try and service that. Over time, that's developed from the initial day or night I decided that I was going to do it. But I guess there's no point reinventing the wheel in a sense, so we're trying to look at, okay, what's existing and how can we meet all the other needs that are there.
So Sean, is that mainly a volunteer-run service?
Yeah, everyone with Anonymous X is a volunteer, including myself, and yeah, no, they're fantastic.
So look, I know this isn't about you and you don't really want to make it about you, but can you tell us a little, why somebody would leave their, I suppose, comfortable full-time day job in their mid to late 20s and decide, bugger it, I'm going to go out and help the homeless. I mean, it's stuff you read about, but what made you make that decision?
We wanted to help out some less fortunate people in the flats in Flemington, and that was because my cousin passed away from a drug overdose in that court, and my mum actually grew up in the same court. So I thought, well, there's been a bit of a history there, so that if I can go and connect with some of the younger kids down there and show them that someone similar age to their older brothers and sisters, but in a different light, then it might be positive for them, and just the appreciation and the gratitude that the kids showed, the parents showed, and there's people from all nationalities, all religions, and just getting together, and it was just an amazing sight to see, and I've never experienced it in my life, so that's why I decided to take the plunge and just go for it.
There are some misconceptions, I think, about homeless people in general. That bearded, middle-aged, fellow who probably drinks too much and hasn't showered in a while and, begging for coins on the street. I mean, it's a real misconception. There are 22,000 Victorians estimated to be in part of that homeless community. It can be a whole host of different reasons, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about perception. It's basically how you identify a situation, and until you actually go out there and you're out there enough to know the difference between the people. I guess it's unfair in a sense to add to that stigma and that stereotype of generalising them as, like you said, the bearded man that hasn't had a shower, because a lot of them actually go to those extra lengths to appear that they're not homeless, and you would have no idea that they're homeless, but they are. And we target these people and we develop relationships with them so that we can actually not just treat them like a homeless person, we try and develop a friendship, and I think that's a really important part about what we do.
I think that's one of the big things. So many everyday folk don't really know how to behave or act around a homeless person, if you will. Would you say that there is no difference?
It's funny you say that, because someone asked me a couple of weeks ago, how do you approach them? I said, like I would anyone.
Exactly.
It is unfortunate, but I think that we're trying to, on social media especially, engage with a lot more people to try and get them to understand that they're homeless, less fortunate. There's so many different areas within homelessness.
If you've just tuned in, we're talking to Sean Thornton, founding director of self-funded charity Anonymous X. This time of year tends to make us feel a little bit more isolated if we don't have that support network around us. Is that what you tend to find around this time of year?
We find over Christmas is, I guess it's really special to me, because that's when it all began. This part of the year, we can really push that unity and that working collectively with other organisations for the ultimate good. People on the ground, the grassroots organisations, are trying to make a difference, and collectively we believe that we can create a change, and it's just about aiming at the right demographic, the right people, and assisting them over the festive season.
So can we get really specific about this time of year? Like, you get out onto the streets of Melbourne, mainly, we'll call them hotspots, where a lot of people tend to hang out if they don't have a home.
Basically, we've got a map in a sense, and we have all of these hotspots, like you say, and areas that we know that homeless people are visit regularly, and we have relationships with them. So basically, in our warehouse, we have a whole bunch of donations that come in. We sort them, categorise them, and get them ready for distribution. And then we go out to volunteer programs, outreach programs. We have a system with launch housing, which is an order form. So basically, people now can actually order clothes specifically for their needs, so that people can actually order what they want. It's not just, here's a bunch of donations, hope it helps. It's, your name's
What do you
Bob,
need?
Joe, Frank,
Yeah.
from head to toe, we can provide you jeans, jumper, t-shirt, hat, shoes, whatever it is. And through Launch Housing, every 4 to 8 weeks, we provide 50 people minimum there. A personalised order form. We do promise packs,
Yeah.
which means if we are out in the streets doing outreach work and we don't have something in their silos, we write it down and we make them a promise that we will actually get that to them, and we always do.
That's brilliant. I suppose it's the small things that can really make somebody feel like a person. I feel like so often with homeless people I've spoken to is there's a real beat up of confidence, or their identity starting to become a bit shaky, or whatever it might be. So for you guys to really make it personal and to come back with something very specific that somebody has asked for, just goes to show that you are looking out for individual needs. How can actually people get to know a bit more about your organisation, but more specifically, how can they lend a hand in at this time of year?
The best way to find us and the most we sort of engage with people is on Facebook, and that's just Anonymous X on Facebook. So just like the page.
Yep.
Our website's www.anonymousx.com.au. We have a Market with a Difference, which is coming up this Saturday, which is in Grattan Street. Basically, it's going to be able to be a bit of a fundraiser in a sense to actually start making some kids packs and some rough sleeper packs to help hand out throughout Christmas, so we can actually give people who won't be having a Merry Christmas in a home a Merry Christmas on the streets.
Sean Thornton, thank you so much for joining us here at Triple R. Really appreciate the chat.
No, thank you, mate.